We're literally seeing an epidemic of these issues in the United States right now.
Dr. Robert Melillo is the co-founder of Brain Balance Centers.
1 out of every 10 children in the United States now is diagnosed with ADHD, and that's a real increase.
My name is Dr. Robert Melillo. My life's mission is to help kids and families with special needs. My wife, Carolyn, makes it all possible. Welcome to our family.
Hello, welcome to our show. I'm Dr. Robert Melillo, and this is my wife, Carolyn. Today we are talking about autism, so let's get started right away with what's making headlines. So last time we talked about fathers being older and having a greater risk of having children with autism, but there's been another study showing that women who are over 30, as you get over 30, your risk of having a child with autism accelerates dramatically.
Which is scary because most people don't think of having children before 30 anymore. I think in 1970, the average age of a woman was 21 and the average age of a man was somewhere around that. And now it's 31 and 35 years old.
Right.
And of course the body is different. I mean, we don't want to tell people not to have children at any age. People should be able to have that choice.
Absolutely.
But if you are a bit older and if your husband's a bit older, there are so many things that you can do to prepare your womb properly and make it the right vehicle to carry a healthy child. Because when you have so many obstacles, age, weight, if you don't have a healthy lifestyle, if you're predisposed for high blood pressure or diabetes, all of these factors add on and a great risk of having a child with autism or ADHD.
Yeah, and I think that's the real big message, and that was the whole point of my book, so it's almost
That's right.
Thank you for promoting my book, Autism, which was all about how do you prepare your womb. And the thing is, it's not even preparing your womb when you're pregnant, that's one thing, but it's even preconception.
Absolutely, and if people are planning to have a child later, after 35, there certainly are many things they can do to prevent a lot of these things from happening. And reading the book would help through vitamin, through weight loss, through just changing their diet. Diet is a big issue. There are so many environmental factors that didn't exist years ago that exist now. And when you eat, even putting things in the microwave, eating things out of plastic, all these things add up in your body. And if you're already at a certain age, it's a high risk. It's a very high risk.
And speaking of that, another risk that came out in research this week was that looking at women or maternal thyroid problems lead an increased risk of having a child with ADHD and autism.
Well, how does one know if they have a thyroid problem?
Well, thyroid, as you know, we were talking about that, how common it is, right? It's the third most common drug, is drugs for thyroid problem. And it's, again, almost an epidemic rise. And so what we see is that the most common problem with thyroid is hypothyroidism, which usually leads to weight gain, dull hair, your metabolism goes down. That's what happens. So it concerns people because they're saying, I'm not eating, I'm starving myself, but I'm gaining weight, right? So the thing that is most common problem is what's called Hashimoto's, which is really an autoimmune, where your body is attacking, your immune system is attacking the thyroid gland and damaging it. And what's important about that is that we know that 60 to 80% of people that have that Hashimoto's type, that autoimmune thyroid, that is triggered by gluten.
Right.
And so they don't realize that, you're taking this medication, but actually if you just remove gluten from your diet or did things that would help your digestive system work better, that may actually do it, and that elevates the risk dramatically.
Why is gluten so bad?
It's not bad. Gluten is not bad. That's an important point. It's that it's harder for humans to digest gluten, and if you have a problem with your gut, and if you have an immune system that's not working properly, if you're reacting to gluten, there's something wrong with your immune system, there's something wrong with your digestive system, which more often than not, it's because it's a problem in the brain.
Right, and most people have a problem with their digestive system because they don't eat properly.
Absolutely. So stay tuned, because when we come back, we're going to be talking to Linda Kuepper, the director of Autism Cares Foundation. She shares with us important information, including special needs children in everyday activities and ways we can help make that happen. More when we return. Welcome back to the Dr. Rob Show. My first guest is helping support families living with autism each and every day. Linda Kuepper is the CEO from the Autism Cares Foundation. Welcome.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Sure.
It's a pleasure to be
We
here.
appreciate so much what you're doing. We're a real supporter of your organization. But tell us why you started Autism Cares.
Absolutely. I have 2 sons. I have my older son is doing fantastic. He's in his first year of college and growing and enjoying his life. My other son, Michael, was diagnosed with autism at 2.5.
Wow.
And today he's 16 years old and he's growing, a young boy, and is going to be a man someday. And his needs are going to change definitely throughout his life. What we noticed when Michael was getting older, like I said, he was diagnosed at 2.5, so around 5 or 6, we definitely saw a huge difference in his life from Frankie's life, and that was friends.
Yeah.
There was no friends.
Right.
Frankie had a ball. He had friends coming over. They would go downstairs in their own little boys' room and play video games and go shoot hoops. Well, Michael's world wasn't like that.
Right.
Michael came home and was met with a therapist, whether it's a PT, occupational therapist, speech, and it was, I call it like a revolving door.
Right.
You know, when one goes out, one comes in, and there was no one knocking at that door saying, you know what? I want to play.
Right.
I want to be like my brother and play basketball, go downstairs and have some fun playing videos. That's what kids do. That's
So is
what
that
they
one
do.
of the missions of the Autism Cares Foundation, is to help families with that?
Absolutely, absolutely. And what they missed was that social piece. They needed to have friends.
So how do you promote that with your organization, with your foundation?
Sure. What we do is we host an activity or event. And that's what we do, is we provide activities and events for individuals with autism.
That's wonderful. That's a great way to meet other children and interact.
Absolutely.
Where they normally wouldn't get that opportunity.
Absolutely. And not only
great.
that, the parents get to interact.
gonna
That's,
say,
and,
yeah.
and there's so much information that can be
Yes.
Absolutely.
shared, and you
It's
always
vital.
feel better when you know other people are going through what you're going through and can help you and give you tips. That's wonderful.
Absolutely. They need that. And what about the siblings?
Right.
My son Frankie went through a very tough time.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah,
having
they
people
have to
coming in
deal
their
with it,
home
right.
and not giving him the attention
Right.
and what's wrong with me, and
Yes.
and it's just a very long process. So the foundation, these events are so essential to them. It is so needed that our community that we provide these services for, they rely on us.
That's fantastic.
Well, it's so
They rely
important
on
because,
us.
again, as we were talking about, first of all, when you got the diagnosis of autism, what you said was they wrote it on a prescription pad. They
Absolutely.
didn't even tell you in person, and you had no idea what autism was.
None whatsoever.
So you've spent your life trying to
Absolutely.
accumulate that information. And Carol and I, the reason why we have the show is because we feel that, you know, Main Street media is just ignoring this community, the special
Absolutely.
needs community as
That's
a
why
whole.
we need shows like this. It is extremely important to these families. You know, you have in America today 3 million.
It's
3 million individuals
It's so prevalent,
with autism.
That's just autism.
along
Correct.
with the autism comes the diet, and how do
Absolutely.
you provide fun food? You don't want the kids don't want to have to eat weird food. They want
Absolutely.
to,
And they want to eat something that tastes good.
right and looks
And
good.
that's a social
And looks
thing
really
too,
good.
Because if they have to eat foods that are different than everybody else, that also
Absolutely.
affects their social skills.
Exactly.
Their ability.
Exactly. That's why all of what you're doing, all of what the foundation is doing, is that we're filling that void. The puzzle is starting to connect. There is hope for families. There is hope, and the foundation brings that hope, because when you attend an event, the smiles on their faces and the joy that we bring to their lives, that's the story. The story is them. It's
Can
their
you
families.
tell people how to find out about these events?
Absolutely. The Autism Cares Foundation, again, we provided, since our inception, 500 activities, events for individuals
Wow,
with autism.
that's
Impressive.
a lot.
So,
That's really
And that's the
impressive.
missing piece for most of these
Exactly.
kids, is the socialization. And
Exactly.
it's for every mother. That's the most important thing. That
absolutely,
you
you want to have your son have fun.
Yes.
And be happy.
Laugh.
And be happy.
Laugh and not
right.
be judged.
Right.
So these events are done in a very safe environment. There are a lot of love. I call our families, they're our extended family. We love each and every one of them, and it's a lot of hard work, but the reward is just absolutely tremendous. And
so again, just tell the people where they can get and find out information.
Absolutely. They can find out information about our events on the Autism Cares Foundation.
Okay.
.org. And what we're trying to do is we serve many families, but what we're trying to do is we're trying to broaden. We're trying to get this foundation and out there and make it aware. Why not?
Absolutely.
Why not? It just, you know, and anybody can call me and contact me, and I'd be willing to go out there and do whatever it takes to help them develop, because it is a lot of hard work, but it's easy as you just take an event. Like next week I'm going to have a prom.
Oh, that's great.
A prom where they can dress up and look beautiful and to the nines. It's a full prom.
Wow, that's fantastic.
That's
the sweetest.
Yes.
No, that is
and our
really,
oldest prom, she was 37 years old.
Wow.
She's never been to a prom.
I love it.
It was
I love it.
amazing.
You're creating memories and
Absolutely.
wonderful memories.
You know, what I want to do
Absolutely.
is really just thank you for your work and thank you for being with us. It's really, time has flown so quickly. But Linda, thank you so much for joining us today.
It's a pleasure.
When we come back, we're going to introduce you to a very special boy whose fascination with chimes is helping raise awareness of autism. His story when we return. Welcome back to the Dr. Rob Show. Well, my next guest isn't your average 8-year-old. He has a passion and a unique love for sound, specifically wind chimes. Tyler Doi joins me now via Skype to talk more about his special gift and how it's helping raise awareness for autism. And he's also with his dad, Sean. Hi guys, how you doing?
Hey, Dr. Rob, how are you?
Well, you know, I watched the YouTube video, and I hope everybody out there will see that video of you, Tyler. But basically, you have developed this love for wind chimes. So, Sean, give us a little background on Tyler and his developmental history and his diagnosis.
Well, it was probably about 1 year of age or so where we noticed he had a few, I guess it wasn't hitting the typical milestones that has been published for kids of that same age. Things such as waving hi or waving bye, saying one word here or there, maintaining eye contact with people, and as well, he had a lot of sensitivity to sound and certain feelings and sensations and such. And just putting all that together, we started doing a little bit of research and spoke to our doctor. And after a lot of consultation and testing, around the age of 3, he was officially diagnosed with ASD.
Okay, so, you know, one of the things that you point out there is that we always talk about many children in the special needs community have this unevenness of skills. They have, you know, certain skills that they struggle with that might be immature, but they have these other skills that really are fantastic. And I always say that the children that end up with many of these labels are really gifted children. And so what we see with Tyler is that he has this incredible ability to understand sound and to recognize sound and to really memorize it and remember it. And that's really amazing. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that? And then I'd like to hear from Tyler as far as, you know, what he loves about wind chimes.
What do you like about wind chimes?
I like them because how they look and how they sound.
And
I guess it was around the age of 3 when he had different fascinations, such as hot air balloons and stars and bird feeders. And it was at one point where he went out for a drive looking for bird feeders and saw a wind chime. And it was from there that the wind chime fascination just took off like anything.
well, you know, what I think is great is that he's taken that fascination now and he's actually motivated the people at the Woodstock Wood Chimes to create an autism chime. And that's really incredible. So I want to know, Tyler, did you have anything to do with designing the chime for autism? And what do you think about it? Do you like that sound?
Yes. Yes.
So Sean, did they ask him, or did they ask for any input from Tyler or from you guys when they designed this? Because I understand that you guys were really pretty much the motivation for them doing this.
They didn't directly ask us for any input on the design, but when we did go down to Woodstock Chimes for a visit, they asked us at the time if we would like to be involved with some of the development or I guess some of the marketing behind the wind chime, and we were more than happy to oblige. We were very honored that they were doing all this. through a great part through Tyler's inspiration.
Well, I think that, the fact is that, they're raising money and awareness, which we're all talking about. That's why we have this show. There's not enough awareness of this community and what can be done to help. So it's great. So if you had to pick out a favorite chime, Tyler, what would you pick out as your favorite sound?
Emperor Gong, King David, Healing, and Tactical Kenny, and Aloha.
Okay, well, I also saw in the video that you actually could identify the sounds better than the person who created them, which was absolutely amazing because you have this incredible sound. Do you like any other aspect of music? Do you play any instruments?
No.
Are you interested in doing that? Okay, so you just stick with the wood chimes, and that's great, and hopefully maybe when you grow up you'll help to design some as well. So we want to know that people can get in touch with you. Is there a website or something that they can go to?
Yes. If people go to www.chimes.com, there is a link on that website that goes right to a special page featuring autism and the Woodstock Chimes for Autism, where they can view his YouTube video. And you can also purchase the autism chime. And as you mentioned, Dr. Rob, all the proceeds from sales of the chime go towards autism treatment and research.
Well, that's fantastic. And again, I think what you guys are doing is fantastic. Tyler, I think you're a great young man, and I'm sure that we're going to hear a lot about you and what you're doing. And thank you for all that you're doing and your family's doing for families with autism and special needs in general. So thank you. Sean and Tyler Doi, thank you so much for joining us today. So don't go away, because when we come back, Carolyn and I head into the kitchen with some healthy snacks and food that you might want to put on your next shopping list. We'll see you after the break. Welcome back to the Dr. Rob Show. As many of you know, a healthy lifestyle starts with the food you put in your body every day. It's never too early to start teaching your children the importance of good nutrition and diet. Today, Carolyn and I have some examples of foods and snacks that you might want to introduce to your little ones, and we have two taste testers with us today. So,
okay, well, this is actually a craft for a rainy day. This is something that I think kids should always be involved in cooking and making their foods. Instead of buying processed foods, it's great to know exactly what you're putting in your body. So we have some cookie dough here. And, well, before we do anything, we're going to spray our hands with, put your hands over here like this, a little coconut oil.
And this is Katie and Brian, and they're actually twins.
We have Katie and Brian here, that's right. Now wipe it off a little bit. There you go. And now I'm going to give you both a nice big wad of cookie dough. All right? And this is what I did with my kids.
Eat it all right now.
Don't eat it all. And in fact, you can break it up into little pieces, but I want you guys to make a beautiful creation for me. I want you to think of whatever you can think of and be a sculptor and make some beautiful creation with the cookie dough, because later you're going to cook it and then you could take it home and actually eat it. But the most important thing of all is that this cookie dough, go ahead guys, start. Go ahead.
If you want to sculpt me, that's okay.
Yes, try to sculpt Dr. Melillo. I just want to go over a little bit of what is in this cookie dough, because Brian, you're casein and gluten-free, right? And maybe you could just take a little taste of the dough and tell me if, or you know, maybe we shouldn't, because it's got a little bit of egg in it, even though I always ate it as a kid.
Okay. He's not egg-free, I don't think.
Yeah, but it's not cooked. Okay. Do you find that foods taste good? Do you have a problem with that, or you're a good eater?
I'm a good eater.
You're a good eater. Well, this is something that not only tastes good, but it's part of a creative process with the children. And for lack of time, I didn't bring all of the ingredients in, but I just want to go over a few things. Instead of butter, Crisco is all vegetable, and it's a shortening, and it's vegetarian, and it really gives a lot of texture and flavor to the cookies. There are different kinds of flours. Rice flour.
That's the biggest issue, I think, with people, is that they need to find flours that are gluten-free, but from a lot of the experts that we've even had on the show, it's really how you mix those flours together that makes all the difference.
And some flours are better than others. For example, brown rice flour is great for flour mix. White rice flour is not.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet rice flour is fantastic for most baking things and thickening sauces and gravies. Potato flour is dense and heavy and is great in cookies and cakes. Quinoa flour, or quinoa, oh, I can't believe I just said that. Quinoa flour is not great for putting in bread.
And that's it. That's why a lot of people complain that gluten-free breads don't really feel like real bread, and a lot of it is based on the flours that they use and how they mix them.
The best flour of all is basically tapioca and millet. So really I think that it's really important for people to know when they go out there that you have all these different ingredients available to you in the supermarkets. You don't have to buy packaged foods. You can make it yourself. We have a Twitter. Okay, from Ellen Notbaum. Be reasonable. If he's not an adventurous eater at home, a restaurant isn't a place to expect him to try new foods or even new smells, which is absolutely right.
Yeah, that's a good tip. That's a good tip.
Because a lot of people with children with special needs should be cooking special foods for their kids, and it's very hard when you go to a restaurant to expect them to provide that for the children.
That's why calling ahead of time to the restaurant and making sure, going online and seeing, maybe even having the child review the menu before they get there is actually a good tip as well.
Yes, absolutely, because they can't have gluten or casein. They can't do it a little bit. It will really make a difference if any of it is reintroduced into their body. So it's very important.
How are our guys doing here, you think?
This is amazing.
Are they gonna get a chance to taste some of
Brian
this?
is making a happy face cookie, which is really wonderful. I didn't think of taking cookies out of the middle, and that's a very creative thing. Absolutely. And what are you making for us, Katie?
Oh, she used
the chips, which are carob chips. They're not chocolate chips, to make a very, very happy face. So now we have some examples too. We have a soccer player and a heart. We have a flower and a teddy bear. And most of all, why don't you two tell me how you think these taste?
Tell me if other kids would eat that.
They would eat that.
They would eat that? Is that good?
Yes,
you think you can make this recipe with Mommy at home?
It's interesting because they made the same design but in a different way.
That's right. It's almost like the opposite.
Exactly.
Do you think your friends would like to come over and sit here and create cookies and different designs? Do you think that's a fun thing to do with your friends? And then they get to go home with their cookie creations, right? Oh, and I see you're just doing a beautiful job.
Okay, great. Well, again, I want to thank Brian and Katie and Carolyn for these great tips and all of our guests today. And we will see you next time. Thank you. Remember, there is always hope, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for joining us.